Hi, I'm Dave Woodson, World of Dream Team Agents here in Northwest Indiana, and there's 5 things you should know before you move to Indiana, and I have those right here in my hand. So before we get started, if you like what you see every week, do that for me. Like it, subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Without further ado, though, I have 5 things you should know. 5 things you should know before you move to Indiana. Number 1, don't assume anything. Just because it works in your state doesn't mean it works here in Indiana. Like half dozen of things. Like if you move from Illinois to Indiana or Texas to Indiana or California to Indiana, just because it works there doesn't mean it works here. Like we can do dual agency here. I can represent both buyer and seller in Indiana with permission of the seller and the buyer. I can represent both sides of the deal. Now, it's not ideal, and I've only done it a couple times in my career, but I can do it if I wanted to. Taxes in Indiana. In 2021, we're paying 2020 taxes. That's a mouthful. They were assessed in 2019. So get that straight. In 2021, we're paying 2020 taxes that were assessed in the fall of 2019. So we're paying arrears here. Another thing that we do in Indiana, if the money you bring to closing is over $10,000, you gotta wire that money to closing. You can't bring a check in or a money order or a certified check to closing. It's gotta be wired in if it's over 10 grand. I had a closing a couple years ago where the buyer's from Illinois, the lender's from Texas. The Texas lender wasn't returning my phone calls. So I was trying to tell him and let him know how to do this. And he told my buyer to bring a check, and the buyer brought a check to closing, and I was trying to tell him that he couldn't do that, but the lender he believed his lender over me, the ruler. You know, I was one from Indiana, so we had to go back to the bank and wait for the check to clear so he could wire the money to closing. It took about a 3-hour closing to get it all done, but we got it all done. So my advice is ask but verify. You can ask me. I'll give you the best answer that I possibly can. I'll even ask my broker for you because she knows more than I do. But always ask but verify. But never assume here in Indiana. Never assume because just because it works in your state doesn't mean it works in Indiana. Because in Illinois, another example, in Illinois they use lawyers or attorneys for closings. In Indiana, we don't. Number 2, get pre-approved. Get pre-approved. Most agents won't take a see a house unless you're pre-approved, and I generally won't either. But I'll take you to see one without being pre-approved if you're local. If you're going to go see one way out in the middle of nowhere, I'll ask you to get pre-approved. Always get pre-approved, especially in today's market where the houses are selling like hotcakes right now. You want to get pre-approved so you know your buying power. Number 3. I can't write. I'm not allowed to say certain things. I'm not allowed to answer all your questions either. Believe it or not, I'm not allowed to ask you a question how good the neighborhood is, or how good a school is, or how the crime rate is. There's such thing as fair housing. I'm not allowed to say that they're moving in because who are they? No, there are no theys. It's called fair housing. If you want to know how good the neighborhood is, my advice to everybody is. Go to the house about in the evening, late after school, early evening. Sit there while it's getting dark. If you feel safe, get out and walk around. If you feel safe, you'd be safe there. And you should buy the house if you like it. But we're not allowed to say certain things because it's fair housing, and I'll never say things. I'll never say certain things ever. Trust me on that one. Number 4, earnest money deposit. What is earnest money? Earnest money is money you put down up front to show how serious about buying the house. Like, so you put $500 down on a $500,000 house, it says you're not very serious about buying that house. But if you put $10,000 down on a $500,000 house, that shows you're a little more serious about buying the house. And you would get that money back if the deal fell apart. You would get that money back if the deal fell apart. But if you did something that made the deal fall apart, chances are you may not get it back. That's called earnest money deposit, and it's usually said that can be negotiated. But a lot of times the sellers seller and the seller's agent say how much money is going to be, but that can be negotiated up front. And number 5, last but not least, there are no get out of jail free cards. You just can't wake up one morning and decide you don't want to buy the house. Once you send the contract, you're pretty well locked in, unless there's certain contingencies built in, like an inspection contingency, an appraisal contingency, lender financing contingency. Unless certain contingencies built in, you just can't wake up one morning and decide you don't want to buy that house. Once you sign the contract, you're pretty well locked in. Unless you want to forfeit number 4, the earnest money deposit. Any questions, give me a call, 219-872-8000, 219-872-8000. If not, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you all next week with another new video. All right, have a good night. Bye-bye.